It's about midnight, and this has been going on since about 7 p.m. They've been standing in the same spot for like 3 fucking hours over there spraying water. It's very odd. And then there's somebody in a building that was in the building in the back doing stuff. I think they're just paying these people to make noise because they were here with the street sweeper the other night. And the guy got in the corner here on the property and just stood there and blew and blew and blew for like 2 hours or so. And I finally went over, I got video, I know what company it is and everything. But this went on during the summer. They would come at like between 10 p.m. and midnight, and they would spray the trees. They would bring big spotlights. They would be like spraying over the vehicles of people who were sleeping in cars. There's also 2 assholes wandering around this area, and they're going into the park, and they're screaming really loud like they're calling for a dog or somebody. And they did it for like 3 hours. And they disappear and then they come back. Right now is a disappearing period, but they'll be back. And I did call the Boise Police Department. They're as useless as the tits on a boar, so nothing is going to happen. And of course they aren't going to do anything about a business. They don't give a flying fuck. These guys are making noise after 10 o'clock, which there's supposed to be some kind of a regulation that people are supposed to be quiet after 10 o'clock. But, that doesn't apply to businesses, of course. They're not going to enforce it for them because they're probably all working together to try to run people out of Boise who are living in cars and are homeless. But Boise creates homeless people intentionally, so that, it's on them. They created my homelessness. I was in an apartment and they assisted me to be gang stalked out of the apartment. And it's just really quite unconscionable what happens in the city. And these people are going to be getting some publicity. Some more publicity, okay? Really very difficult to describe the shit that goes on here unless you just take videos. Like the woman down the street that really ran that motorhome up on my ass, and very dangerously, that some fucking idiot that has a car that has zombie shit all over it, and then she says, that, there's no battery in her car, that her father sent her the money, but no one will take her to go buy a battery until the 1st. That doesn't even make any sense right there, because it would have been easier for the idiot that ran the car up on my ass to take her to get a battery than do what he did. So they were doing that to harass me. But of course, the Boise Police Department isn't smart enough to figure that out, or they're involved in it themselves, because I've had, cops. Before the pandemic, the cops were harassing the hell out of me constantly. And so she's stayed there in that spot for 5 days in a 3-day parking zone. Then she moved forward. They probably simply pushed it forward. I don't think the thing runs. I think that's the second time she's harassed me in a motorhome. She's got a man with her, and I have video of the other time. I just have to find it eventually. And then she stayed in the next spot for 12 days in a 3-day zone, and now she's moved forward into the spot where I was given a ticket after being told by parking enforcement they weren't enforcing the time limits right there, which is from 8 to 6 you can only park 2 hours. So that means that by 10 o'clock in the morning you have to leave. Well, I'll bet you she hasn't gotten a ticket. But maybe she has, I don't know. But if I was there as long as she has been doing all that crap, they would have towed my car. I can tell you that. Now, that day they gave me the ticket, if they'd have come just 5 minutes later, I would have been gone, because all I had left to do to get ready to leave was pull the covers off my windows. But they were there, Johnny, on the spot. Right on the, when the clock struck the hour, they were there. And because they were stalking me, they were targeting me for a ticket because somebody asked them to. Well, I have all kinds of stuff like this that happens here, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not running around yelling. I'm not dumping out garbage. I'm not doing any of that crap. I'm not the people that parked my car in the parking lot over here a little while ago and was messing around with my car and pulling shit out of it and stuff. I'm not the person doing that, but I'm the person that pays the consequences for everyone else because I'm a targeted person. And this hasn't just gone on here. I've been targeted for being wrongfully arrested and wrongfully imprisoned while my cat was starved and tortured and my property was stolen. Half of it stolen, half put out in the rain, and more and more and more and more, and it's been unbelievable. And that's, this is what happens when the empire is dying, when capitalism dies. They can't take people and torture them anymore, like with the Phoenix program in Vietnam. No. Instead, they're using fusion centers instead of their police station torture centers, and they're using no-touch torture on people in many different ways. It's a very complicated program. But these kinds of things always happen when empires die, and that's what's happening. That's what Donald Trump is. That's why he was put in place by the oligarchy. Each of the last several presidents we've had have been put in place to do something for the oligarchy. And Trump is like showing us that we're at the end stages. All it took was a pandemic for the country to completely fall apart. Our White House is not even functioning at this point. It's a really dangerous time in the history of the United States, and I really didn't think it was going to collapse this soon. I thought I'd be dead before that happened. But of course, considering how I'm treated in this fucked up city of Boise, Idaho, and all of the things that happened before I got here, I could be dead pretty soon.